Putin sees these governments falling sooner rather than later. And when they fall, everything changes. What are you going to get after Merz? What are you going to get after Macron? What are you going to get after Starmer? You're going to get people who are far more nationalistic. They are all going to be Britain first, France first, Germany first. In fact, in Germany, you're going to get Germany only. We're sick of the whole thing. And then there are going to be tough times inside these countries. And the same globalists that tried to drag everybody into war with Russia unsuccessfully, they're going to attack their own people for defending their countries against the migrants they don't want. I mean, this is where we're headed. We're going to see convulsive change in the West. It's going to happen here too. It's going to take longer to get here, but it's going to happen everywhere in the West. The West is going to turn inward.
And you know that to your point there about the current leadership in the West who want to avoid that outcome, but also are unwilling to acknowledge reality. They're continuing to spread this information that Russia's coming west, and holy cow, we have to keep this going. This was in the I think it was The Economist, the British newspaper Economist, where they're talking about that all these provocations are coming in from Russia to the edge. It says how they're blowing up tankers in Europe to drone sightings in Belgium, how Putin is pushing NATO to a cliff. Interesting the way they characterize this. This is from the article. Russia has long been accused of interfering in European affairs, but the issue was thrust back into focus in September when nearly 24 drones crossed over into Poland amid a large-scale Russian drone attack into Ukraine. Days later, jets violated Estonia's airspace as Russia concluded major drills in Belarus. Subsequent activity near the border has forced Europeans to close airports and borders, causing major disruptions and exposing vulnerability. This was actually quite a long article, and they went on many things that say that there's been some railroad sabotage going on that the Poles claim on that are Russian. All kinds of things happening, some in Germany, some factories that have been blown up, and strange fires, etc. And look, Doug, I don't know the reality of how much Russia is doing some of this, but it makes sense that they would to me, because what is absent from this article or any of the discussions is the fact that Europe is sending billions of dollars to help Ukraine kill Russians. They're sending long-range missiles and drones into Russia to hit their oil infrastructure. They're having economic warfare on Russia. What do they think is going to happen in response?
Well, two things. First of all, keep in mind that most of the money is stolen. There's a reason that Zelensky has over $1 billion in his bank accounts. Remember, two members of his government and inner circle, Mindich, and I've forgotten the other one's name, they have now fled to Israel because you cannot be, as a Jew, extradited from Israel, brought anywhere and placed on trial. I'm sure Zelensky may well decide to do the same thing, given the fact that he's also Jewish. These people are running Ukraine, and they're destroying it. They're running it into the ground. So you can give them all the money you want, and at least 50% of it will just vanish. It'll vanish into various black markets and into people's bank accounts. The Ukrainian army is no less corrupt than the rest of the society. We could spend hours talking about the corruption in Ukraine. So anything you send there is going to be wasted and stolen. The second part of this, though, is very important. Most of those claims that have been made have been debunked. They're just not accurate. They're wrong. I mean, when you pick up drones that appear to have been originally Ukrainian or Russian, and then repurpose them with microchips that are inserted from Poland, then fly them into Poland and try to create the illusion that Poland is under attack, it's pretty obvious what's happening. The Russians don't need to blow anything up in Eastern Europe right now. It doesn't make any damn difference what they do in Eastern Europe. I mean, if you're going to go after something, why not go after Rheinmetall, which is one of the largest defense contractors in the world? But Rheinmetall is not going to produce anything in any great numbers soon enough to make any difference to what happens in Ukraine. And thus far, everything the Germans have sent over there, the Russians have managed to destroy. Now, some of that is because the Ukrainians don't know what they're doing. But then again, some of it is also because those things have been employed inaccurately and ineffectively. We have just failed in the West to really study what has happened in Ukraine militarily. We think we have. We point to this out of the next year. So the Army just announced that they're going to pay for some outrageous number of unmanned aerial systems. In fact, you and I talked about that.
Yeah.
And your point was valid. Your point was, by the time this stuff reaches any future battlefield, it'll probably be obsolete, because that's how long it takes to produce these things. And the pace with which improvements are imparted to all of these unmanned systems is absolutely incredible. So we're out of it, and none of this matters. That just take that thing and throw that in the trash. It's irrelevant. It's another last gasp to produce some evidence that they can hold up to somebody and say, see, the Russians are coming, the Russians are coming, the Russians are coming.